Hello, Dave Weiss here with The Simple Truth. Well, today, for a brief couple of moments, I was scrolling through the reels. It's usually just a distraction. But today I came up with a pretty good one. I was scrolling through and I found an interview, just a short clip from an interview with Jonathan Roumie. Jonathan Roumie being the guy who plays Jesus on The Chosen. And the reporter asked him a question. If you could sit down with Jesus, have a cup of coffee, and ask him one question, what would that question be? And Roumie paused for just a second, and then he said, "How did I do? Did I even come close?" And I know that's probably his burden because he, after all, is tasked with playing Jesus for the world to see. But I have news for you. He's not the only one who should be asking that question, right? As Christians, we are all representatives of Jesus. The Bible calls us his ambassadors. And so maybe that's a good question for each of us to ask, how did I do? But at that point, one of probably two things is going to happen. We're either going to rationalize every wrong thing that we did, or we're going to analyze every wrong thing that we did. We're either going to try to explain away our sins, or we're going to look at every single thing we've ever done wrong. And neither of those things is helpful. No, instead, I think we need to take a word from the parable of the talents. This amazing story that Jesus told about a master who invests part of his wealth in each of his servants for them to use for the good of his estate or his kingdom, right? Of course, the master represents God, servants represent us. And the first two servants that he has, Jesus makes the story really easy. They take what the master has given them, they invest it, and they double it. And when Jesus comes back, he calls them to himself, and he asks them what they did, and they look at them, and they look at him, and they say, "Well, master, look, you gave me 2 talents or 5 talents, and I gained 2 or 5 more." And he looks at them and says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Now, there's a real temptation there to look at that story and say, well, yes, they doubled what the master gave them, and so they did well. That's not it. That's not even close. No, what they did was they trusted the master enough to do what he told them to do. They were faithful. I believe that's how God measures success. I saw this little meme once that said, when God put a call on your life, he already factored in your stupidity. And it's meant to be tongue-in-cheek, but it's true. The God of the universe knows everything he put into you. He knows exactly what you're capable of. He doesn't expect you to do things that you are not capable of. That's his department. What he expects from us is one thing and one thing only: faithfulness. So if you want to sit down with Jesus and you want to ask him, how did I do in representing you, then know this. He's not going to be looking at your profit and loss statement. He's going to be looking at your faithfulness. Were you faithful? Did you do the best you could with what you have? And I believe that if we will trust him and do that, we will hear him say, "Well done." That's the simple truth.